what happens when there are static variables as part of the class? What are static variables? We all know they are not instance variables. So static variables don't belong to the object, they rather belong to the class. Right? That's why they are called class variables. Now what happens when these static variables are there in a class and that class gets serialized? I'll move on to Java and show you what happens. Okay, let's see what happens to this static variable. As you note, there is this class called ABC. Okay, it has 3 variables, 2 instance variables, one is I and the other one is K, and then we have this static variable CH. These 2 are the constructors and I have one display method, and here we go ahead and serialize an object of this class. I have obj object 1, which is an object of type ABC. I am putting in values 100 onto the first variable, that is 100, the value, say object 1 dot I will be 100, object 1 dot K will be 9.8, and of course we have the character variable, that is CH, that is static variable, will have the value Q, and I am going ahead displaying it. Now when we try to serialize this, we have the file output stream FOP, and I have a file called obj file.txt, and I have the object output stream, and I'm attaching this obj.txt to that through the file output stream and trying to write object. Okay, when I write object, just let's see what happens here. Okay, these are the values for my variable. I is a normal instance variable. K is a special variable. I will come to transient later. And then there is a static variable called CH. Now, the same class I have, and I'm trying to deserialize it. Okay. Just remember these words, I is 100, K is 9.8 and CH is Q. Now this is the deserialization class, trans._deser, and I have an object 2 which I'm creating by using the read object from the same file. But when I try to print the values, we can note that CH is blank. That means the value or the state of that object has not got copied onto the file. Why? Because that is a static variable. As all we know, the static variable is not part of the object. It is a class variable, right? What I can infer from this is all static variables are not serialized. So one way to stop something from being serialized is I can make the variable static, but making all variables static is not possible at times. Coming to the second part, so here the first question, are static variables serialized? No, static variables are not serialized. Okay, so the coming part to this, serialization with nested objects. What do I mean by the word nested? Can you see this class? There are 3 classes here, class 1, class 2 and class 3. There are 3 classes, right? And within class 1, I have an object of class 2, and within class 2, I have an object of class 3. This is what I meant by nested. Okay, there is an object, one object within the other. That means when I create an object of type 1, automatically an object of type 2, that is TW2, gets created. When TW2 is created, then TR3 also gets created. Now, what happens? There is a variable here in 3, a variable k with value 10. And now look at the main program. I have O1, which is an object of type of class 1. What happens when I create this object? Internally, we all know when O1 is created, within that the TW1 creates, and when TW1 creates, TR1 also creates, and there are 3 objects, one within the other, that are created. You can note that when I use this display method, I'm saying O1 dot TR1 dot TW1 dot TR1 dot DSP. Okay. Now here, when I try to serialize O1, I'm serializing only one object. Does that mean the other objects which are nested within are not serialized? No, they are serialized. Okay. I will just execute this code. Okay. This concept wherein objects which are embedded within one another are serialized is called object graph. Okay. See here, serialization and deserialization both happen for this object called O1 here. Here I have another object O2. So here, what is an object graph? Sets of objects which are one within the other. They are automatically created and automatically serialized also. That is called a object graph. Now coming to the next slide. Here there is a question. How do we prevent serialization of sensitive information? Imagine there is a serialization happening, but to a class, I want certain things to be serialized. But there is a certain information, for instance, in this example itself, there is some information about Aadhaar card of the student. And of course, I don't want this Aadhaar card number or information of the Aadhaar card getting stored into a file or traveling over the network. How can I prevent that? The solution would be using the transient keyword. Transient is a keyword I would show you in Java. Let's go back to our same example with the variable I, K and CH. Transient is a keyword using which I can prevent some information from being serialized. Like say in this example, I have this variable K, which is transient. When I execute it, it shows me the values, okay? But going back to the deserialization of this, when I execute this, it shows the value of, just check what it says. It says K is 0, which used to be 9.8. It is 0 now because that particular value has not got copied onto our object file.txt. If I go back to this slide, how do we prevent serializing sensitive information? I can prevent serializing sensitive information or information that I don't want to be serialized by using this keyword called, the summary of it, all transient and static fields do not get serialized. An object graph is a set of objects which will be serialized automatically because they lie one within the other. And the last one is, if our class does not implement the serializable interface, but I'm trying to have methods there, then the JVM will throw me a not serializable exception as a error. Runtime exception comes up.